Hello, this is Dan McCarty. Welcome to our next video. We're continuing our discussion of marketing strategy, and in this tape we're going to talk about the actual elements of the marketing strategy itself. You can see from this chart it looks kind of complicated, but I'm going to walk you through each piece of it. The core of marketing strategy is, of course, creating customer value, and through that, long-term relationships with the customer. I mean, after all, that's what marketing is all about. And the way you do that is the next ring out. We're going to talk about segmentation, targeting, differentiation, and positioning. We're going to talk about each of those elements. The next ring out is the marketing mix. We'll talk about that, how that figures into the strategy process. The next ring out is how you implement the plan. You have a planning and control process, and that it all takes place in the context of our environment, which includes intermediaries, our competitors, our suppliers, and the different publics that actually are involved with the making and distributing of our product. Because as I said, the value chain requires that each and every one of those play a role in delivering value to the customer. So let's get started. How do you go about creating customer value? And let's talk about this first ring out. The first concept I'm going to talk about is segmentation. Marketers don't believe in one big giant market. We believe in dividing the markets into smaller segments. And segmentation is just what it sounds like. It's dividing the market into distinct groups of buyers who have different needs, characteristics, or behavior, and might require a different product or a marketing mix. So if you're thinking about going into shoes, for example, I want to get in the shoe business, well, one particular segment is athletic shoes. And you could even divide it further to say, okay, men's or women's athletic shoes. And even further, you could say, okay, what sport? Am I talking basketball or running or just fashion shoes or soccer? So there's a number of ways that you can segment the market. And each of those requires a somewhat different product and somewhat different marketing mix. So segmentation is identifying all of the potential segments that you could go after, figuring out which one you want to target. Targeting is taking a look at each of those segments and figuring out which one is the biggest, juiciest piece that you want to go after. Not always the biggest piece, but which one is most attractive to you. And part of that is the size of the segment, the trends of the segment, how easy it is to target, the competition in that segment. So all of those go into the decision, okay, which one of these slices am I going to try to serve and create customer value? Okay, now how do I go about creating customer value for my products? That's done through something called positioning. Positioning is how the product thinks about your product in their mind. So positioning is arranging for a product to occupy a clear, distinctive, and desirable place relative to other competing products in the minds of the target consumer. So in the case of Rolls-Royce, what I have up on the screen, I mean, what comes to your mind automatically? Okay, very expensive, very high-end, very luxurious, very, very high quality. So Rolls-Royce has that in your mind. So if I say Chevrolet, a different positioning comes to mind. That's more of a middle of the road, good basic transportation, nothing super luxurious, but it gets the job done. So these are kind of laddered or positioned in our mind. I mean, it even goes to the point where if I were to talk about a watch or something and say this is the Rolls-Royce of watches, you would know exactly what I meant. Very, very high end. So positioning is trying to get customers to think about your product in a specific and favorable way. And you do that through differentiation. You do that by making your product slightly different than that of the competition and making sure they understand the difference. Okay, what is it in the case of Rolls-Royce? Well, only the finest quality leathers, the finest quality woods, extremely heavy and long-lasting components, powerful engineered engine. So, all of that begins to differentiate your product and justify the positioning that's in the customer's mind. Positioning often takes the form of a simple statement that is in this format. Blank is the brand of what's your frame of reference that has this point of difference. So in the case of Rolls-Royce, Rolls-Royce is the brand of luxury automobile that delivers unparalleled quality, the best of the best. That's their positioning statement. On the other hand, Chevrolet is the brand of economy automobile that offers good basic transportation at a fair price. Corvette is the brand of sports car that is fun to drive, fast, cool looking. So positioning statements for each product is the way you want people to think about it. And it's not just for big things like automobile. For example, Sanka is the brand of instant coffee that has no caffeine to keep you awake. Or NyQuil is the brand of cough and cold medicine that knocks you out so you can get a good night's sleep. So we all have these positioning statements in our mind of how marketers want us to think about their brands. So that's how you go after your segment, through segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Okay, once you've decided on who you want to go after, how do you go after it? That's the role of the next ring out, which is the marketing mix. And there's 4 elements to the marketing mix. They're the 4 P's, as you learned in basic business probably: product, price, place, and promotion. It's the set of controllable marketing tools that the marketer blends to get the response they want in their target customer. And the 4 P's, they get the right product, make sure the product's right and it's at the right price, it's offered for sale in the right place where our customer shops, and it's promoted in a way so that our customer hears about it and is stimulated to go investigate further. So the 4 P's: the right product, the right price, the right place, backed by the right promotion. Now, I'm not going to go into this in any big detail here because we're going to have whole chapters devoted to each one of these marketing mix elements. But that's the next ring out in the marketing strategy. Once you've picked your target and your point of difference and your positioning, you then communicate that through your marketing mix. And the marketing mix has to be integrated. It has to all work together. So again, going back to our Rolls-Royce example, the product we've talked about, the finest of everything, but it's also offered at a place in a dealership in the very finest cities, in the very finest neighborhoods, very nice buildings. This one's in Palm Beach. It's priced certainly to convey quality. Rolls-Royce are $200,000 to $300,000, so there's certainly price to convey quality. And promoted, you won't find them on reality TV show advertising. Rolls-Royce is more likely to be in Millionaire magazine or in Fine Food and Wine magazine, where the Richie Riches can look at it and be stimulated to maybe go check one out. So the marketing mix, all the elements work together to integrate and create one major experience. The last ring of the marketing strategy is actually implementing the marketing effort. And like anything in business, planning's only part of it. You have to execute it well, implement it, and you have to have a control process. Is it working? If it's not, you may have to tweak it. You may not have the customer value proposition right, so you try some different things until you feel you have it right. That's the whole marketing planning, implementation, and control process, where you monitor what happens and make adjustments if you think you don't have it right yet. So that's our discussion of marketing strategy, and we'll see you in the next video. See you later.